Hello, Mr. Randy Duck, and welcome back for another video. So today is the release of the new season, and with that comes a brand new Tier 10 American tank destroyer, the T114 Battalion anti-tank tank destroyer. So this was released today in today's season. It's the level 100 reward if you purchase a 2000 gold season pass. So what I've got for you today is 3 videos showing off the tank, and what I'm going to do, as always, as it's a brand new tank, just before we get into the gameplay, I'll briefly go over this vehicle. So what is it? It's a tank destroyer, but it's not a tank destroyer in your usual form, if you like. It's a very much more of an active tank destroyer. You know, I play it even, you know, kind of like a light tank in a lot of scenarios. It's got fantastic mobility. I think the standard mobility is 57 kilometers an hour. I run the traction speed to get that to 62 kilometers an hour. Has fantastic concealment, 250 concealment. So it's very, very stealthy. And then you've got this 3-shot autoloader gun, which is unique in the sense that it only actually has 2 rounds. Your standard rounds, it has heat rounds with 315 penetration for 420 alpha. And then your premium rounds, you have the HE rounds, which has 180 penetration for 570 alpha. So you're able to pen that 3 shots in the autoloader with the HE rounds. You could put up a scary amount of damage in one clip. But it does have one big weakness, and that is the shell velocity. And this tank has a shell velocity on the standard heat rounds of 503, and on your premium HE rounds of 498. That means when you're fighting at long distances, this is not the tank, because you can't really snipe those shots because of that very, very bad shell velocity, which is why I kind of explained it. It's kind of different to many other tank destroyers in that sense, and I do play it a lot more like a very, very more active and aggressive, and utilise that concealment to get to aggressive positions and just keep finding ways to move about, dump those clip, and then just look for the next place to get that damage in, and so on. So that's briefly over the tank. I mean, it's got 7 degrees of gun depression. As far as the armour goes, it doesn't really have much armour, but it's kind of like that sort of Batchat armour, if you like, where you get random ricochets for, you know, just goes weird extreme angles. But the actual armour, it doesn't have any. You know, it has no armour. You just get those odd bounces, but you definitely don't want to be relying on bouncing shots in this tank, because that's not what it's about. But let's just get into the replays now, and we can, you know, find it easier to talk over the tank as we go through the replays. And yeah, I'll stop rambling and we will move on. Okay, so here we are for replay number 1 on Sand River. If you want to see the setup I am running on this tank, you will see it at the bottom of the screen as we speak now. So we're on Sand River, where we actually don't have any light tanks in this game, which is quite good for us. And there is 1 enemy artillery. So we're going to go to the sort of middle position to see if we can spot the cross and get any early assistance or damage off. And as you can see, we've got fantastic mobility, so we're able to get there pretty quickly. Unfortunately, I wanted to get up a little bit higher. Unfortunately, you know, it's a bit contested with friendly team here, which is a bit awkward, because I feel like I'm going to get lit for this, you know, get detected for firing this shot, because I wasn't able to get behind the bushes like I intended to. But we do get 1 shot of damage in, and we manage to avoid any damage in return. But it's a little bit, you know, very contested. The artillery on the enemy game, I'm a bit conscious, might start putting shots into us. But I pull up to this ridge, and you see I'm just abusing the concealment at this point just to try and detect enemy tanks. I'm faced the correct way to escape as quickly as possible, but I'm not going to fire at this range. You know, it's kind of not worth firing the shot at the grill, because I'll get detected for firing the shot. I just want to keep everything spotted for as long as possible. I do eventually get detected by an enemy tank poking that ridge, and I need to get back into cover now for my own safety. But we've had an okay start to this game, picking up 2,000 assistance and 1 penetration of damage. We're going to go on to reload. I mean, I think this tank has a base reload of 19.45. You get that down to sort of, you know, just under 18 seconds. without the food activated. And, your reload's pretty decent. You don't feel like you're on reload for that long, especially when you can just utilise the movement to move to different positions and spot targets. And you see, it's a very, very small tank, and this is what I mean. It feels like you're playing a light tank when you're playing this tank. It doesn't feel like you're playing a tank destroyer. But I do run silent driving because obviously you are on the move a lot, and I want to lose less concealment value when I move, because obviously you're not a light tank, so you do lose concealment value when you are moving. Now here you can see how the concealment is worked out very well, and we don't even get detected for firing these shots into this E50, and we put 3 shots in, putting ourselves onto 1,500 damage and 2,300 assistance. We're in a position where if we get detected here, we could be in a little bit of bother, so we've got to be a little bit careful. I want our team to try and push this E50 out. We know there is a tank destroyer in the bowl here in front of us. It's a Jagdtiger E100. So if we get behind that tank, he's not going to be able to turn and get a shot into us. We're going to be able to outmaneuver him quite well. And I've decided I'm going to go in and try and kill him out, because as long as I pen all 3 shots, I can pick up the kill. And you see at this range, it doesn't matter about the shell velocity being very, not very good. So we're going to hopefully get the finish as long as we just take our time, kill the enemy Jaguar E100. Like I said, not a great deal we could have done about that, being a tank destroyer station like he is. But we picked up sort of 2,300 damage, 3,000 assistance, and we started taking control of this game and pretty much taking control of most of the map, which normally leads to one way for the enemy team. Going to try and finish off this standard B. We do pick up the kill there, confirming our 2nd kill, putting us onto 3,000 damage. Only 6 tanks remaining. I know there is a bat chat which was on the hill at the sort of 8-9 line, so I'm conscious of that bat chat coming behind me, but I also want to just try and get to this damage. Now, I probably should swap to the HE rounds, because there's that waffle, and with 180 penetration I can pen the bat chat and I can pen the waffle, and obviously you're going to pick up a lot more damage if you are using those HE rounds, as long as you do pen those shots. But we haven't done so. We do spot an enemy artillery. We're looking to see if we can find a shot into this target, and we do hit them, picking up a penetration, and then we try and chance that shot, but we wasn't quite able to reach it. We do swap to the HE rounds now in case we get an opportunity to shoot that waffle or the artillery. We want to pick up as much damage, but unfortunately we kind of blocked in position from getting to that waffle by this enemy Foch. Now, we are full health, we can afford to eat a shot at this stage of the game. We're going to try and get one into his cupola, and we do actually pen it, and you can see putting ourselves onto 560 damage, 180 penetration. You can pen surprisingly quite a lot of things, and we do pen it again with the weak spot, putting us onto about just shy of 5,000 damage, 2,300 damage. I think this Foch, depending on what gun he's got, is almost out. He's probably got a couple of shots left. I think he's running a small gun. But we try and just get over there to get the kill, but wasn't quite able to. And that brings us then to replay number 1 on Sand River, where we pick up 5,000 damage of our own. I think it was about 2,000 assistance, about 2,300 assistance and 2 kills. So that's it for replay number 1. Let's move on to replay number 2. Okay, so here we are for replay number 2. This time we're on Ghost Town, where there is an enemy light tank in the game and an enemy artillery. Now, traditionally maps like Ghost Town like this, they're not really the best map for a tank like this. You really want to be playing, more heavies or stuff with good gun depression to play the ridges in the middle. Sort of stealthy tanks, stuff like that is not as good for you on this map. However, having said that, we are an autoloader. We're very quick, and one thing you can do with Ghost Town is it's very symmetrical, so you can try and use that to your advantage and get work angles. If you've got good map awareness, you can kind of work out where the enemy team is and try and sneak up on them basically, and just come behind them, put those 3 shots in, and then get out of there. But quite early doors, you see, this is what I mean while playing it almost like a light tank. I'm pushing very, very aggressively down this line to see if we can spot the field and detect anything which comes in this way. And we may be able to pick up some assistance from our tanks in the sort of J8-9 line on those ridges. We do pick up a kill on the enemy RU light tank, removing the light tank from the game, which is nice. And we don't manage to pick up any assistance, which is a shame, but I guess everyone is in everyone's sort of spotting range there, you know, and wasn't quite able to try and get a shot into that enemy Centuro, but that's just not going to be possible, especially with all that rubble in front of it. You know, you do only have heat rounds or HE rounds, which means you can't shoot through destructible cover. So when you get lots of maps when there's lots of destructible cover like that, it can be a little bit awkward, because obviously you can't shoot through it. But this position has outlived its usefulness to us, especially with those tank destroyers there. You know, it's a matter of time before I get penned by that E4, and I've decided that I'm just going to get out of this scenario and see if we can find a better place to fight, because I can't seem to get into that game there. But we managed to come behind this chisel, and we're going to be able to dump our clip. As long as we pen all our shots, we should be able to take care of this chisel. Now, I'm careful, obviously, like I say, I've got the heat shells in, and the chisel has a lot of space armour. So I'll go for the back of the turret, making sure I don't hit any of that space armour, otherwise the heat shell could get absorbed. And you know, I didn't want to not pen any of those shots. So put ourselves onto 2 kills and 1,000 damage. Still a very even game with a 13 versus 12. But I'm going to see if we can get any. See if we can get another clip off, maybe into this Urichi here. With the heat rounds, you know, with 315 penetration, we're not going to struggle to pen this target. And we do dump the 3 shells here, picking up our 3rd kill of the game. And now the enemy fun police, aka artillery, is looking to shoot at us. So we're trying to get out of dodge. Just sort of get into cover while we're reloading, assess the situation and work out where we're going to try and get our damage from, being the 10 tanks remaining now. So just like I say, having a little scan, just trying to work out where can we get our damage. Now this medium tank to our right hand side, we're going to show you if we can just take out this target. So, you know, because he's kind of holding up our team here, and I want to try and get past him and just take him out as quickly as we can. Put 1 shell into him, and then we get another one through a lower plate, through the gap, picking up our 4th kill of the game, putting us into 2,600 damage. And now we're going to try and pick up another kill, which we do, picking up our 5th kill of the game, putting us into 3,000 damage. Now I do spot that enemy F3005. Now I kind of, at this point, regretting not loading the HE rounds again. You've got to bear in mind, this is like, I've not played this tank that much, it's only just come out, so I'm still getting used to it myself. But I feel like if I would have had the HE rounds, I could have just gone and penned that 3005, got a lot more damage. I wasn't expecting him to come around this way, and now I'm scared that I'm going to lose a lot of hit points. But I actually get away with that, and I don't lose that many at all, so he didn't have it managed to pen, which is nice. And we do pick up a couple of shots and pick up our 6th kill of the game. With 3 targets remaining, I'm just hoping we can pick up the Devastator, or maybe even the Radleys if we're lucky. Trying to push towards this enemy Iron Rain, trying to get there as quickly as we possibly can. We missed the 1st shell. This time we should be able to hit, and we do get our 7th kill, confirming our Devastator medal. With 1 target remaining, the enemy artillery. We've gone on a reload. I'm hoping he just stays, you know, unlit for as long as possible, but he doesn't. He gets detected, and it seems very unlikely that I'm going to be able to get a shot in, and I don't. He gets clipped out by the 50B. But that is the end for replay number 2 on Ghost Town. How did we get on? We got 7 kills, 4,000 damage. I think we pick up the 1st class there. Like I was saying, the Devastator. So another decent game for, you know, not a particularly great map for this tank. But with one final replay to come, let's move on. Okay, so we made it to the final replay then on Hell of Pass, where there is no enemy artillery and there is 2 enemy light tanks. So initially we're going to go and try and play the position I like to play from this spawn. This is my preferred spawn on this map, because I can try and get to the middle of the map at sort of G5, which is far easier to achieve from this spawn, and you can't really do it from the other spawn very well. And yeah, it just makes this, you know, a lot easier, because from this map, from that position, you've got options where I can shoot pretty much, you know, a lot more of the map basically, and it puts me in a good position. So we have managed to get to this position undetected. Initially we're just going to push forward to see if we can spot anything, and this light tank has made a mistake pushing this aggressively. I wasn't really expecting this light tank to do there. See, we missed a 2nd shell. That's because of the bad, you know, shell velocity. You really have to pre-aim your shots here. You see the lead we managed to put on there, and that's one thing you'll have to get used to playing this tank is, you know, the lead. You do really need to lead those shots. You know, you've only got 500 shell velocity, so you've got to lead those shots. The actual, I can't believe I haven't actually mentioned so far, the actual accuracy of this tank is actually very accurate. You've got a 0.24 accuracy, and a really decent aim time as well. So although you do have poor shell velocity, you do at least have good accuracy and good aim time. So it kind of helps a little bit. If it had really poor accuracy as well, then it would feel really derpy. But with that good accuracy, it actually doesn't feel that derpy, which is quite nice. So we try and get one shot there into the M103 lower plate. Unfortunately, the heat shell kind of absorbs, gets hit on his track, doesn't go exactly where you want to. But we're going to try and move and just take care of this Batchat behind us now, because the Batchat's in a nuisance position for us. So we do put one shell in, picking up 1,300 damage now, putting that Batchat onto a one shot, and we go on to reload, and we're looking and we're waiting to see if we can get any shots into that enemy T30 on the top, just to try and just so we don't have to worry about a tank being behind us. We put one shell in, he gets shut down by a Kranvarven, and that's that threat eliminated. At this point, it's still a very even game though. But for tanks like this E100, that's just, it's kind of just sat in the open for us here. Obviously, firing at this range, you can see it's awkward, because if he just wiggles, it's going to be difficult for us to hit that shot. Can you see how long it takes the round to get there? But thankfully, with the heat rounds, you don't lose any penetration over distance, and we're able to go through the flat surface of the E100 turret bar there, picking up a penetration shot. We're going to try and pick up another one here on the E100, and we do, and we pen our last remaining shells, putting us on to about 2,500. Now in a 12 versus 10, but I'm looking at the map, and there's two tanks sort of coming towards our base. I'm concerned we don't have anything over there, and I don't want to get capped out, so I've made the decision to go back towards the base to try and defend the base. Like I say, we don't really have anyone defending it. I'm just conscious of ended up getting capped out, so I'm going to go back and to see what we can do. At this point, I don't know exactly how many hit points these tanks towards our base were on. I was kind of expecting them to come up to the cap circle, but they haven't done so, so we're just going to see what we can do, if we can spot any of these targets, see if we can get a clip in. You see the mobility just gets you to those positions very, very quickly. Now I'm thinking, have these just tanks just sort of just turned around, because I haven't spotted them. We do manage to spot the M103 here. We try and chance a shot into the lower plate. Unfortunately, we don't hit it. We eat one in return. And now I'm trying to leave, because there's an enemy leopard coming towards us. Just going to try and put one shot into that leopard. And now we're going to try and escape, because I don't want to get pushed by that leopard. Leopard has fantastic DPM, and he would bully us in that scenario. So we need to just pull back, use our mobility and distance just to get away from him. If he comes for us, we'll be able to try and get a shot in. But it looks like I was holding that shell for that leopard, but for some reason he hasn't come towards us. So I'm guessing he's gone back to try and help out his base. So I'm going to go on to reload, and if this M103 stays where he is, I'm just going to be able to put 3 shots through his turret with the heat shells. At this point, I'm thinking, is he AFK? We're just putting these shells through his turret. We managed to get another shell for his turret, but he actually fires, so he wasn't AFK. He's looking to try and shoot a different tank, and that puts us on to 4,500 damage now with 1,000 assistance, and we're back into a 7 versus 7. So still an even game, close game, but we've got the majority of our hit points here, so I'm feeling fairly confident at this point. I just want to try and get as much damage in as we can. Looking for the kill shot here on the M103, but it has pulled back slightly, but it gets taken out by our friendly AMX M451 French heavy tank. And now we're in a 7 versus 5. I'm just trying to find this leopard at this point. Again, I probably could have loaded the HE rounds knowing it was a leopard, but then we spot this enemy tank destroyer to our right going into the cap. And what we're going to do is just see if we can come behind him. He's a turretless tank destroyer. If we can get behind him, he's not going to be able to get any shots into us. Again, I probably could load the HE rounds, because with 180 penetration, if I get the rear of that tank, I am going to be able to pen him. I think, once I've got more time to play this tank, I probably will use more of the HE round clips, because the damage potential is very, very good. But here we are able to get 2 shots in. We're hoping to get the final shot in to get up 3 shots in, and we do, putting ourselves onto just shy of 6,000 damage now. 6 versus 4, so still got to be careful we don't throw this game, but it's looking pretty likely we're going to get the win. Definitely now. 6 versus 2. On full health, I can eat a shot off of this tank destroyer if I need. So I'm just going to wait for him to come in. I'm expecting him to eat 1 shell, but then I can get behind him. He actually misses his shot, but we miss 2 of ours. That was just lazy with that final shell, which is kind of annoying because we could have picked up the kill there, but that was kind of laziness on our part. And at this point, I'm assuming the French tank is going to pick up the kill because he's on a 1-shot. But we don't really have time to get to the other tank destroyer, so we're going to go back and see if we can just get the kill on this enemy TD. And thankfully for us, we are able to pick up the kill, and that brings us an end to the game and the video. So let's see how we got on. We managed to pick up 6,400 damage with 1 kill, 1,000 assists, and we do have a nice game. I'm very confident if I play this tank for a lot more, I'm going to be able to get some really, probably some silly gains in this tank. It's very, very capable of some big gains. But, I just wanted to get this video out as soon as I could so you could see what you could earn as it's just been released today. So thank you so much for your support. As always, if you did enjoy the video, please remember to like and subscribe because it really does help out the channel. Thank you so much for your support and happy tanking.
Hadouken!